prepare to get gas because it's time for the Week in Gear. This week, PRS hits the big 4-0 and brings a fancy present. Gibson doubles down on bursts, and Harley Benton releases an amp that costs less than a round of drinks at an Oasis concert. This episode is sponsored by VOLA guitars. More about them in a little bit. Now, let's kick off this week's most exciting gear releases by unwrapping that guitar-shaped box in the corner with PRS written on it. Yes, PRS is celebrating 40 years of making perfect guitars with no soul that no one can afford. Yes, PRS is celebrating 40 years of making guitars. Meet the 40th anniversary Custom 24 Satin Limited Edition range. It's a core model finished in a super thin satin nitro that is going to wear in beautifully and probably feels smoother than your excuses for buying one. The finishes are odd. At first glance, I thought they were a little boring and even bordering on ugly. But then I zoomed in and my brain flipped the script and I now think they're stunning. And I don't know how that happened. My favourite is the charcoal tri-colour burst, which just, I think we're going to look back on that and think it's a modern classic. Now these are custom 24s, so you know the drill. 24 frets, bird inlays, PRS trem, weird luxury wood, impeccable build, and the new DMO pickups. Ooh. The mahogany necks are pattern thin, with a 10-inch radius ebony board. The solid body is mahogany, and that is a mango top. Yes, mango with a violin top carve. The full PRS recipe. There's even a pre-factory eagle on the headstock. Eagle! Here's the catch. The price. One of these is going to set you back around 6,500 notes. Eek. The PRS have steadily been inching the core line into what used to be private stock money. These must play great, and I like them, but they're edging dangerously close into sell your car territory, or sell several cars in my case. Still, if you want a PRS that celebrates their history without gold leaf dragons carved into the top, this is the one. Gasometer, wishlist, if your wallet hasn't already given up. At number 4, not long ago, Gibson decided that Les Paul standards weren't quite standard enough, so they announced the Les Paul standard Double Trouble. And now we have 2 new colours. On paper, it's the same 50s and 60s Les Paul standards you already know, but with uncovered double classic white pickups, and now dressed in 2 new finishes, Vintage Honeyburst and Vintage Bourbon Burst. Honestly, I love them. I think they're gorgeous. The 50s version has that fat, rounded neck profile, the kind that makes you feel like you're gripping a tree, with Burstbucker 1 and 2 pickups, and it has that vibe that makes you feel that you should only play it through a dimed tweed amp whilst wearing sunglasses inside. The 60s version, on the other hand, slims it down with a slim taper neck, excuse me, hotter Burstbucker 61T pickups, I believe. I might have got that wrong. I think I got it right. It's faster, it's tighter, and it's more in your face. It's basically the standard for people who think the 50s one is just a bit too old, polite, and from your granddad. Now, the finishes. The Vintage Honeyburst on the 50s is my pick of the bunch. It is just dripping with caramelized old school vibe, like someone bottled the 1950s and poured it over a Les Paul. The Vintage Bourbon is darker and moodier and 60s-er. Price-wise, both sit at around 2,500 notes, which is, well, pretty much par for the course with Gibson these days. Not cheap, not shocking, but still the kind of number that makes you glance nervously at your bank account. So no, this isn't Gibson reinventing the wheel. Again, it's still very much a Les Paul standard, but sometimes a couple of new finishes is enough to make people justify owning their second or third Les Paul. Gasometer? Add to cart, especially if your cart already has another Les Paul in it. This episode is sponsored by VOLA guitars, and if you've been sleeping on them, well, now's the time to wake up. VOLA guitars are a boutique brand building in Japan and self-distributing all across the world. And I've got one here, and the build quality on these and the sounds and the looks just simply nail it. The thing about VOLA is they're not only fantastic, they're also a lot cheaper than you might imagine. The JZ Fro, for example, is coming in here for me at 1,449 euros. The Aries Burl is also under 2,000, but they haven't got any at the moment. Which brings me to the main point of this sponsor section. VOLA have asked me to tell you that pre-orders are now available for their new models. So if you want something on the website, contact them via the link in the video description, and they will definitely put your name next to one. So, for example, if you're gassing over this Vasti model, it says pre-order next to it. Go put your name down. And if you're left-handed, they also cater for you as well. And I get lots of people telling me there aren't enough left-handed guitars available. VOLA have them. So yes, VOLA do modern takes on classic shapes and configurations. And if you want one, have a look at VOLA guitars, link in the video description. Now, on with the show. Now, let's swing from luxury to budget brilliance with the Harley Benton DNAfx Amp 20, with a big P for some reason. A 20-watt modeling combo amp that costs less than your last takeaway weekend. In fact, let's do the price first. It is 118 euros. Practically nothing considering what it can do. What can it do, I hear you ask? I'll tell you, and sit back down. It's packed with features, so they say. It's got 8 amp models. Here we go. Clean, country, blues, rock, lead, brown, metal, and are you ready for it? Ultra, which seriously triggers my Line 6 spider senses. It's got 4 onboard modulation effects, flanger, for phaser to tremolo and chorus, plus spring reverb, hall reverb, delay and reverb. Sprinkle some tap tempo, some Bluetooth and line in for playback, 6 foot switchable user presets and an onboard tuner, yes, Boss Katana, and you might understand why this amp could cause a bit of a rumpus in the gear world. Granted, the 8-inch speaker isn't going to paint peel off the walls or make the floor shake, but it seems like it will do everything else, and it is genuinely impressive for the price. I saw the Harley Benton video with Benedict playing, and it sounds great. It does. The main reason I like this is because it's Harley Benton doing what Harley Benton does best, which is making everyone else's entry-level gear look overpriced. The gasometer? Buy it now! Twice! One for the kitchen and one for the bedroom. Now, number 2, this is the hero guitar range of the week. Fender's Squier Classic Vibe series has been refreshed again. I talked about the Bigsby-equipped Telecaster a few weeks ago, and I still think this is the standout of the series, and I love it. But Squier have added more models and more finishes, and my top pick there is without a doubt the custom Esquire in Candy Apple Red with double binding. Oh my goodness, this thing just looks incredible. It's a poplar body with that vintage Tele custom outline, a maple neck with a universal C shape, which is not my favorite, but you know, please everybody and nobody, and an Indian laurel board with 21 frets, which seems pretty standard for Squiers these days in that price point. But the real magic is in the Esquire wiring, because why has it got a switch if it's only got one pickup? In fact, it's got just one single El Nico bridge pickup with a 3-way switch that changes the tone cap presets. It's raw, it's honest, and it forces you to get creative. Now, one pickup doesn't mean one sound, it means focus. And this thing has plenty of it. And it's also available in Sherwood Green. I wouldn't kick that out of the studio either. But the Esquire is just one part of the refresh. The Classic Vibe family now includes 50s Stratocaster HT, which is more traditional with a single ply pickguard, Alnico single coils, and all the Buddy Holly vibes you can handle, in a very surfy shell pink and surf green. But it's hardtail, hence the T. There's also the 60s Jazzmaster. This is offset cool, on a budget, with dual single coils, vintage style trem, and all the surf rock shimmer baked right in. This one is available in 4 colours: Olympic White, Sonic Blue, 3-colour Sunburst, and Tahitian Coral. That Tahitian Coral really is something else. Moving on quickly before I buy one, there is the 70s Stratocaster HT-HSS. Hardtail bridge, Alnico pickups, and a very mean looking bridge humbucker for some lovely chugging. And bringing up the rear is the Duosonic HS. Short scale fun, with a humbucker / single coil combo that makes it perfect for students, people with smaller hands, or grown-up men with curly hair who love Nirvana. Now, every one of these lands in the same ballpark. Solid poplar bodies, Indian laurel or maple fingerboards, C-shaped maple necks, Fender-designed Alnico pickups, and finishes that actually look more premium than the price tag would suggest. And price-wise, they're all around the sort of 400, 450 notes mark, depending on where you live, which is the price that you should expect now for an almost real Fender. And it's almost the price of a Fender Standard. But back to the custom Esquire. At about 450 notes, it might be the coolest budget guitar of the year. Maybe, or I retract that statement, but it's certainly in the top 5. This is a no-nonsense garage rock machine that looks like $1 million. It looks like $2,000, and gives you the bragging rights of owning an Esquire without the custom shop mortgage attached to it. The gasometer? Oh, buy it now. And why stop at 1? Surely the Esquire and the Bigsby Telly would go very well together. I thank you.
Andy's Pick of the Week.
And finally, chaos. Bring it on. My pick of the week is a fuzz pedal. Yay! Death by Audio have never made normal pedals, and the new Crossover Fuzz is one of their wildest yet, in the sense that it's obvious and sensible, and why has no one else thought of this? The Crossover Fuzz is fuzz with a twist. Instead of dumping your whole signal into a single wall of distortion, it splits your input into frequencies. Highs go one way, and lows go another, and each band gets its own fuzz treatment with separate gain and volume controls. That means you can keep your low end huge and tight whilst letting the top end sizzle into white hot insanity, or push the lows into dirty sludge while keeping your highs sharp and cutting and polite. The magic happens at the crossover control, which sets exactly where the split between highs and lows occurs. The result? A fuzz that is more sculptable than the usual one big fuzz cloud, and you should be able to build textures and carve space and even keep some clarity while still going full DBA style unhinged. And because this is Death by Audio, it doesn't stop at tone. You can split it into stereo and send the tops to a guitar amp and the bottoms to a bass amp, or you can just sum it to mono. It also has CV and expression input for modulating the crossover point in real time. I recommend you take a look at the video from Emily at Get Offset. It is fun, it is fuzzy, and I really enjoyed it. Thanks, Emily. This pedal slots neatly alongside DBA classics like the Fuzz War and the Apocalypse, but it's doing something genuinely different. It's a fuzz that lets you dial in chaos across the frequency spectrum. It's a fuzz that lets you dial in chaos across the frequency spectrum instead of just obliterating it all in one sweep, which also I have time for, but this is special. At around 300 notes, it is not a bargain bin fuzz, but no one buys Death by Audio for subtlety. You are paying for something that turns distortion into a weapon, or 2 weapons. Gasometer! My wallet is on fuzzy fire, because this is fuzz at its best. Just when you think you've run out of ideas for new fuzzes, this comes along. It's fun, it's creative, and I want. Thank you to the wonderful people that support the show on Patreon. Their names are up on the screen. Hello everybody, welcome to TWIG 89. And these people support the show right here on YouTube. Hello to you as well. Thank you so much. And as always, here is a special thanks to the top tier members. Alinta, Buddha Blue, Boom Shakalaka, Buzzle, Dirk, Doug Paget, Hugh G. Rection, Yindrik Strelka, Johnny McBadminton, Mike Lute, Andrew Morgan, Gary O'Neill, Josh Tamberg, Man Dude Bro, PQ Deads, Robin Kelly, Sarang Narayan, and Southern Panda 33. Thank you, top tier members. Yes. Now, comment your pick of the week, and I will see you in 2 weeks, because next week, this geek is on holiday. Bye!